gente, ¿cómo está, Kana? It's me, Miss Ashling, and you, you're most welcome here at my channel. So today, I'm on the mic, and I'm on the mic for several reasons. One, because I've been a little under the weather. The weather here has been pretty gnarly. It's just been way colder than New York usually is. Let's see, let's have some typing and we can see what the weather report is. It is 66 degrees, and that is perfect for me. And I'm hearing myself. Sorry about that. Or you're hearing me double. So it is gonna be 46 degrees tonight. That's pretty chilly. I'm trying to find the thing where it tells me the difference between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Oh, there it is. No, it doesn't. Yes, give me Celsius. Okay. Nope, that's not working. But yeah, now I'm really curious. I haven't done a typing video in a while. 66 F in Celsius. 18.8. So it is 18 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Hi, Phineas. So let's see. Mic cover on. Mic cover off. Natural nails because I've been real busy. This is a matchstick. I like the way it sounds. I used it already. See, let me light your fire. Good job. I like how it sounds. And I had originally used it on my candles, which you can't really see. The one, if you've seen it before, and then the Halloween one with house on it. Spooky season. And I was also to record me reading The Legends of Yellow, but as I've been mentioning in my videos, there's been a lot of construction in the area and leaf blowing and all sorts of stuff, and those are not pleasant sounds. So I didn't get around to doing that yet. Tomorrow will be a compilation video of all the spooky time stuff, triggers that I've done so far in October. She can hear I'm pretty congested. Put that to the side for a bit. Clip your hair back. Clip. Here we go. A little less crazy. I also have my gloves. These are my fingerless ones. So let's see how it sounds on my mic. How does this sound? Oh, I like that. I don't necessarily like the stomping from upstairs, but it is what it is. We'll pretend it's a ghost. It's a ghost. house. This is my tie box. I thought it might make some interesting sounds, but I think I'm going to cover it when I do a recorded video because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I don't have any. You'll just have to settle for the triggers that I do have today. I have some crepas. Have you ever heard of crepas? There's a few that were broken, and I put them in a different container, and I misplaced it. So, but because of that, there's a little bit of emptiness in it. So, I kind of like that sound. Junior artist, and it comes with 25. I like the way they're set up in rows like this. And it's like that with gray buses, they're little crayons. Let me color you in. And this is as close as we're getting to bubblegum today, that's for sure. And when you use them on paper, because they're oil pastel based, you can kind of like rub it into the paper and it looks like oil paints. And they're designed to help kids learn how to do oil painting, or adults who aren't that great at it, like myself. And you can use them for coloring, color mixing, and scratch technique. And this particular box is quite old. I remember when I was a kid, I really liked crepas. And one of the first things I did, I bought myself when I finished college, what feels like 100 years ago, is this crepas set. So this set is actually it's more than 2 decades old. And they still work really well. So yeah, if you want to get into like artistic stuff, but you don't want to like make the commitment to buy paints, this is a great like entryway into art. Hi Oscar. So I think later this week I'm going to do something with crepas. Tomorrow will be a compilation of the triggers I've done so far, instead of a reading like I usually or have been doing, because I got sick this week. This is just some extra wires from my left ear. Everything on my desk is a mess. Just my accessory bag. My desk is a mess because I was sick. it's just washing it in your tub with a bucket. And I use the last of my Tide Pods. So the upside is the bathroom smells really nice. And I'm gonna make something out of this. Maybe I'll turn it into like a pumpkin or something. And again, we don't have kids in the house. This kind of product, there was like this big scandal a few years ago where people were like accidentally eating this. So I do not recommend this product if you have kids in the house, unless you keep it real locked up. Although I don't know why anybody would eat it. People do strange things. We're living in strange times. What else do I have? Oh, I'm gonna save that for later. This is something I'm gonna do a video about later in the week. It is a emotion wheel, and I need to get to writing this week. And this is, you can use this tool for a lot of different things. You can use it to help you figure out the character's emotions when you're writing a fictional character, or even a non-fictional character, like something based on real life, and you're trying to figure out their emotion. So, for instance, this is happy, and the different things that can be happy are joyful, proud, optimistic, or peaceful. And if that's still not what you're looking for, then the outer wheel has ecstatic, liberated, confident, important, open, inspired, hopeful, and loving. And they have some happy and positive, and the other side is like sad and not so positive. But it's good for when you're like trying to figure out how you want your character to be written, or like for your own personal, like deciding how like you want to define yourself. And I'm gonna use the leftover of this matchstick. Just placed it out. I'll do it on the camera though, on my phone, because that way you'll get a better visual than you're getting now. But it's a really good tool for writing. And I also have my colored pencils, which need a good sharpening. I think the sharpener is very twinkly. And it comes with... Hi Ariana. How are you? Let me erase if anybody has any like stress, let's just erase that together. Let's just erase that together. Shoop, 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 shoop. I'm not going to open up the sharpener part because there's probably little shavings in there. My pencils are all dull. I don't know, you can't see them probably, but they're super duper dull, and I need to sharpen them. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, I've been under the weather, so I have a little bit of a scratchy throat. It's the other reason why I'm on the mic, because I didn't know how sound would come through. That's a very loud airplane. I'm trying to cover it up. So many more planes lately. You've been better, I hear you. For some reason, this is a pretty rough week, I think, for pretty much everybody I know. Just one of those things, mid-October. Which brings me was working at to this other school. It's in the same district, and they just they put you where they want to put you. And I struggled in that building, and I stuck it out for 5 years because we had the pandemic. But then when the worst of it was over, I was like, I gotta go. But I do miss the teaching aspect of it and the books. But if you hear anything about what's happening in the States right now, there's just a lot of tension about a lot of different things in schools and with books and stuff. So the reason why I'm obsessed with this story, Washington Irving was a native New Yorker. He was the first American publisher who was respected in Europe. He was writing in the early 1800s, and so the U.S. was still new and hadn't really produced an author. And he's so funny, but because the stories and his writing is 200 years old, it's far too difficult for students nowadays. So when I've taught this in the past, I've read it to the students, but I never recorded myself doing it. And I kind of regretted that now because I would have just put on an old version of me, but whatever, it's fine. At some point, I'd like to record a reading if that's something you guys are interested to, and it's a bit long, so I might have to do it in a couple of stages and then using Restream, put it all together in one, so I think I'm going to do that. But I wanted to talk about it today because I think the most interesting thing about this story and a lot of the stories that Irving wrote about is there's no real bad guy. There's no real villain. And in this story, depending on how you look at it, all three of the main characters could be villains or they could be victims. And it's just well, which is which, And Ichabod Crane, he's a teacher and he's very, very snobby. He's super snobby. And back in the day, teachers did different kinds of ways of discipline that would be incredibly frowned upon nowadays. There's a description where he gets at the bad students with the switch, which is a little stick, a little stick, a little stick. So that's another reason why I kept this matchstick that I used but haven't tossed yet because it sounds really good. It's not hollow, but it sounds hollow. And I think it's porous. I don't know that much about structure. I'm not an engineer, but I think it's a cool thing. Oh yeah, a ruler back in the day. Yep. But that kind of stuff was outlawed in New York, probably earlier than it was in some other states. In fact, I think there's some other states in the U.S. where it's actually still okay, but I don't want to talk about that because I don't know. So let's see. Let me know if this is too harsh and I'll put the cover on. I have the mic on medium intensity. let's try some with my fingerless gloves. See how about this? We just straighten it up a bit. Get you in the back with my little stickers here. It's a stitch sticker, of course. And a Supergirl one. But yeah. Dang, Oscar. The principal is what? The principals always have to fancy everything. Without using names, I will say that I knew a superintendent in not the city. The city currently doesn't have a superintendent. They're in the middle of one, but that's besides the point. But I knew a superintendent who used to drive a Jaguar. The kids in the community were very poor, but this dude drove a Jaguar. I don't get it. Thank you, Ariana. I always get cheered up when you guys come over to my little channel. Because yeah, things are crazy right now. But we all will make it through together. Even with the airplanes and the construction and change of weather, colds. Yeah. And childhood trauma memories of like teachers doing nasty things. Yeah. I don't know, but it was definitely a thing, and it's described pretty intensely in the short story that Ichabod, but they're making a point to be like, but he doesn't do it to anybody. He picks the worst kid in the class. What? So much for positive reinforcement. But then, because Ichabod, he thinks he's so smart, which he is, but he gets a little bit too snobby about it and thinks that he can have any girl he wants, any girl at all. And he goes a little bit too much out of control and starts going after this girl, Katrina Van Tassel. And that's such an old New York last name, Van anything, because we were originally settled by the Dutch in the 1600s. And we won't go into that because that's pretty intense too. That's a whole other history lesson. But Katrina's like the guy that she's like talking to use modern parlance, and the guy that is kind of Ichabod's competition is Bones. And spoiler alert, but it's a 200-year-old story. Ichabod is like friend zoned, okay, by Katrina, and he's all like butthurt about it. It is what it is. And then he goes riding off on a horse that he rented, and the horse that he rented is not like, it was like the worst horse in the village. Even a teacher salary then was very, very low. And so he's riding this horse, and somebody, possibly the ghost of a Hessian soldier, starts chasing him down this bridge, the Sleepy Hollow Bridge. And Sleepy Hollow is a real place. And you can go and visit, and you can actually see the bridge that takes place in the story because Irving lived up there. And all we know is a pretty intense description. That part I think I'm definitely going to read as soon as I get the chance, about Ichabod getting attacked by this headless horseman. And the next day, all that the townspeople find is the horse and a smashed pumpkin. But no Ichabod, but some of his clothes are there, So basically, I think the moral of the story is that none of the three characters are the villain per se, unless you think Bram Bones is a bully because he's possibly the headless horseman, and threw the pumpkin at Ichabod to scare him. So maybe Bram Bones is a bully, but Ichabod was trying to steal his girl, so maybe he was just getting what he was getting. I don't know. And Ichabod would sing songs and would lead the choir and teach people how to sing. But I'm not sure how good his voice actually was. I think he thought it was better than it actually was. So Ichabod may have been too big for his britches. Oh, my favorite book of all time. That's a question. It's a question. That is a question. I mean, I like The Legend of Sleepy Hollow is my favorite short story of all time, that's for sure. But actual book, I mean, you guys have seen my bookcase, right? I have favorite authors. I like from the classics. I like Hi Clara. I like Jane Austen's books. I guess my favorite one from Jane Austen is Sense and Sensibility. I just love the gossipy cattiness of it. While it's over 200 years old and people had just a different sensibility. And yet when you look at modern times, it's still kind of the same thing. If you've ever seen the show Bridgerton, kind of reminds me of Jane Austen books. I think it's supposed to, because it's supposed to be the same time period. I also like a lot of historical fiction. So there's an author called Philippa Gregory, and I think that's her name. I think I got that correct. And she writes a lot of books, historical fiction versions of the monarchy in England. So she has all these books about the kings and queens. She has a ton of stuff on Henry VIII, and there's each books that are for his different queens and their ancestors and so on and so forth. So you can go into this intense marathon of reading those books, and a lot of them have actually been turned into TV shows or movies. So I like her style of writing. If you ever heard of Diana Gabaldon and the show Outlander, Diana Gabaldon is the author of the Outlander series. And I finally, over the summer, finished the last book, which I think was book 9 or 10. And I heard that she's currently writing another one, and I hope it comes out soon. That would be my wish for 2025. Just the next book in the Outlander series. It's a mix of sci-fi, fantasy, and historical fiction. And because the main character goes back in time, it's not that big of a spoiler because it happens in the first book. In the TV show, I think it happens in the very first episode. I also like an author called Edward Forster. Did I get that right? I did not. Edward Rutherford. But one of his books is called The Forest, and one of the reasons I like his books is they're historical fiction, but they're based in real time. And at the beginning of the book, it starts in like old, as far back as it can go. So the New York one starts in like the 1600s, and it follows 5 families through the centuries. And all his books are like this. There's one that takes place in London, there's one that takes place in Paris, New York, I said, a forest, and the forest is supposed to be in England somewhere. He also has one with Sarum, which I believe is like now like the Salisbury Plain, where Stonehenge is. Yes, I've been there. And it just follows families through the time. So like, it's interesting to see like what the descendants of one character are like, and like sometimes the characters, like depending on which century they're in, the characters will be like good or bad, and it just goes to show that people are good and bad in all sorts of times in history. So yeah, those are the authors that have come off the top of my head. Because I'm not sure if I have a favorite book. It's more like favorite authors, I guess. Some old, some new. And in school nowadays, there's not a lot of emphasis on fiction, or at least the schools that I taught at, they prefer us to teach nonfiction. So it's like a lot of articles and stuff, and it's like how you're supposed to read from the internet and what's a good source and what's a bad source. And in my teaching career, the beginning it's like Wikipedia is a bad source, and by the end it's like Wikipedia is acceptable. Can't keep it together. And now that they're writing essays on AI, it's a struggle. So that's why I've been stressed out, trying to find a day job that I actually want to do. Because there's just so many layoffs and other things in the area. So yeah, it's a wild time. It's a wild time. And I relax by doing things like reading. And I always find ASMR calming. And I love coloring and art. Those color pencils need sure. I'm grabbing a huge pile. I think I got them all. I might have left one or two behind. But I have all my paintbrushes, so I wanted to, since I have the mic out today, see how some of these sound and maybe attempt a couple of visual triggers, because I've never quite gotten the hang of that. But I shall, and I endeavor to always try something new. This one, oh jeez, that was loud. This one's nice and soft, see? When I first started learning about painting, I just went to town. I just when I started learning about paint and brush care, I couldn't quite get this as clean as I wanted. So the bristles are stuck together. Bristles. So I don't think this one sounds as good. Let's try some wider ones. This one's pretty wide. And I also had to learn about the different types of brushes and what designs they did. And the different shapes that you can do. I need to watch me some Bob Ross. The OG ASMR artist who didn't even know the impact he would have so many years later. Thank you. I am feeling a lot better today, but I didn't get to record as much this week as I normally would. So tomorrow's a compilation of my Halloween triggers. So if you didn't get to see one, they'll be there. And also just I watch them to put myself to sleep sometimes. See how this sounds on the bottom of my bottom. It's let's dust your stress away. So I'm gonna work on my painting skills and sharpen my pencils. And I was showing this before. I actually like doing mouth sounds, but I know that not everybody likes them. So but especially since I have had every cup of tea in the house. Because when you get sick, you have to stay hydrated. And this, yes, my channel, my rules. It's something for me to remember for sure. Because people be like, sometimes, you guys don't see what I delete. But yeah, right, so yeah, this is a list of words. I just did the happy ones earlier, so I'm gonna do the surprise ones now. And they'll be pretty mouthy, I think. Surprise. Confused. Startled. Amazed. Excited. I can barely see these. Energetic. Eager. Awe. Astounded. Dismayed. And shocked. Those are some words that you can use on your word wheel. It's an emotion wheel. So you can it's good for when you're trying to write a story and you're I don't want to say happy a million times. It's the OG synonym finder. But it's also a tool that I've used in therapy sessions with students when we have to do ABA therapy. And yeah, it's tell me your emotion. And you can start from the outside and kind of work your way in. And like, for instance, like one says remorseful, remorseful, remorseful. And it means like really it's about being guilty and it's feeling sad, you know? So then you can look at the opposite one. The opposite of sad is surprise. Or the opposite of disgust is anger. The opposite of fear is happy. I think it's interesting that the opposite of fear is happy. Because if we're less fearful, then we'll be happier. I hope so, Oscar. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. 1,000 subscribers would, of course, be very, very nice. I'm actually hoping soon to open up a shop. And I'll share, obviously, the link with you guys. And it's like I have artwork that I've done that I want to print, make prints of, and have positive motivational stuff in it. And people can get them if they want to frame them or like to make cards. I haven't decided, but I kind of want to display at the very least my artwork. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. Just like, I don't know, I have to do something. Something positive. Something productive. Because stuff around here in the US is a little tense. And I figured if I was gonna do something that would be like a merch type thing or something, like I wanted to do something that is positive, you know. And eventually I'm going to finish writing my book, and that's where I want to sell it from. And yeah, I'm working on a fiction book, and I'm also working on a motivational book. That's why I have my wheel out. Because I just want, there needs to be more positivity. There's so much like mockery and like finger pointing and buy this because it's gonna make you look better, and it's like it's not what's on the outside that counts, it's what's on the inside that counts. And so like anything that I do, I want it to be a reminder about what's on the inside that counts. Thank you for watching the Spanish video. That was actually a lot of fun. I had the video that I recorded for Sunday. I don't even remember what it's going to be about because I had recorded it before I got sick. And my memory is bad to begin with. But yeah, there'll be a video on Sunday and a compilation tomorrow. Speaking Spanish in New York, in Nueva York, is so important because it's like really the second language in the city. Nowhere in the US do we technically have an official language. Like English is not technically the official language of the US. There is no official language. But in New York, because it's in general multicultural, and South America and Latin America are right below the US. And so there are a lot of Spanish speakers, especially in New York. Let me see what this scrunchie sounds like. It's a very thin scrunchie. It's about as much as I've got going. Super, like, it's still like all up in here, but it's getting better. Lots of vitamin C, vitamin C in fruits and veggies and soup and tea and just water. Like, that's the way to do it. And sleeping. I slept more this week than I think I've slept all year. This scrunchie, I mean, you can't really see, but it's like denim. But it's a soft denim, like a jegging denim. I got it in Aeropostale in a set in like 100 years ago. I'm not even sure if that store still exists. Or at least the one that I went to doesn't exist. But they have a lot of like jean designs. Oh my goodness. Dayquil. Dayquil hypes me up. I remember one time I was so congested, and this is before the COVID days, where like the expectation when you're sick is you go to work, especially as a teacher, because it's just really hard to find substitutes. And so I was like, oh, I gotta suck it up. And so I took Dayquil. It made me so hype. I was like, what the heck, what the heck, what the heck, what the heck? Like, the ADHD is already very strong. And this made me more hyper. And I'm the type of person that drinks coffee all day long. Coffee and tea and caffeine and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what is this? Because it has an ingredient that's like pseudoephedrine or something like that. So Dayquil and I don't get along. NyQuil, on the other hand, will knock me out for 2 days. So I try to avoid it because I'm going to be a zombie. And I actually don't have trouble sleeping. It's the one thing I don't have trouble doing. I knock right out. Yeah, when I listen to ASMR myself, it's not to sleep. I use ASMR to meditate or to just like clear my head so I'm not thinking about anything. I think ASMR is a good earworm denier. Just like, go away, intrusive thoughts, go away. And I like listening to ASMR when I'm playing video games. Although I did not play any stressful video games this week, I played Merge Dragons, my favorite, because these dragons, they fly around. One of these days I'll do a video where I share and I talk about it. I think I will, because it's my favorite. And it's literally the dragons harvest from like different things, and they drop things all over the place, and you kind of have to gather what they're harvesting and combine them to make bigger things. And it's super relaxing, and it's just like you're cleaning up after a bunch of dragons, and they're so cute. They're so cute. Like, each one has a different theme. Oh no, Red Bull and I do not get along. Red Bull does not give me wings. It gives me anxiety. I also am not a fan of the taste. And Red Bull wasn't a thing when I was a kid, or if it was, it wasn't something that I like saw. I feel like the energy drink craze happened a little later, or maybe I just missed the boat like a bunch of other things. I remember that there was a cocktail, but I was already in college, where it was Red Bull and vodka, I think. But I never got into that. I just, no. I never liked it. I took a taste and I was like, oh, give me the cranberry or something else. I do not like the Red Bull. And I like Monster even less. I don't know if that's still a product. It's, what's the thing in it? Not glycerin. I can't remember, but I know it starts with a G. For that energy drink. I don't drink a lot of like soda, but when I do, it's either root beer. Root beer is my favorite soda, or Coca-Cola. But I do prefer Coca-Cola that's from Mexico, which we can get here in New York, because it has actual sugar in it instead of hydrogenated corn syrup, and it tastes like the Coke from my childhood. They changed the formulas sometime in like the 80s somewhere, and it's different. It's different. Coca-Cola is not the same, for me anyway, unless you can get it out of a fountain. Then it tastes like the syrup is sort of real, as opposed to in a can. I don't know. But the Mexican one comes in a bottle, and it tastes like It used to. It tastes like sugar instead of like aftertaste sugar. And if you never had Coke before, because it just, depending on your age, then like you might not notice the difference. McDonald's Coca-Cola, if the machine is working, is the best thing in the planet. It's the best thing in the planet. But if you're going to McDonald's where it's not, like maybe it's the end of the day and the syrup and the carbonation aren't like flowing as well. But yeah, a fountain soda from McDonald's. That's showing my age. Fountain soda. I mean, they didn't really have those like fountain soda cafe shops when I was a kid anymore. I think there was like only one or two left where near where I lived in Washington Heights. But yeah, that is the good stuff. Because they mix the syrup right there. Somebody's walking their dog and their dog is barking very loudly. Why is it that the smaller dogs have the bigger barks? Why? Although lately my favorite animal to check out has been Moday. I love that hippo. Oh my goodness. So cute and sleepy. I'm obsessed. And then like sometimes there's like videos where a news reporter's like, oh, check out Moday. I'm like, shut up, I don't want to hear you. Go straight to the Moday. Go straight to the hippoglyphs. And every time I've tried to watch the live stream, she's not there. Or she's sleeping or whatever. Temperature is super important for Coca-Cola. Absolutely. And it's best if you can get the soda fountain one from the self-serve rather than the person behind the counter giving it to you. Because then you can control the amount of ice. Sometimes they be putting in way too much ice. No. It's way too much ice. And I think the other thing with the soda fountain just being all sciencey and stuff is they mix the carbonation is like perfect carbonation. Like when you have it out of a can or a bottle, it's not the same amount of pressure that comes out of the soda fountain. Yeah, the good things. But McDonald's in the US is so expensive now. So expensive. It's like, I don't know. And they say, oh, because we're paying people more. No, McDonald's, you can afford to pay people and not raise the prices. Come on now. Come on. But yeah, McDonald's is about as expensive as just going to the diner. And the diner has soda fountains. A lot of foods have changed. I've noticed that too. Like, this is a silly one and super processed, but there was a brand of frozen food called Hungry Man. And they would be like TV dinners, microwave dinners, the dinners that you could put in the oven. And I probably haven't had one of those in a while. Just because we cook, Phineas cooks. So we very rarely like get stuff like that. But I remember the last time I had one, I'm like, this is not what I remember at all. Like, the chicken used to be way tastier, and when I had it recently, I'm like, it's too salty. Why did they add more salt? And the mashed potatoes were like bland, and I'm like, excuse me, where's my butter? But on that note, It is just about dinner time for us here. And your girl's got to get to sleep on time so she can kick this cold out, so she can tackle the world next week. I have so much to do in like my quote real life next week. Yeah. And yeah. And yeah, McDonald's was like, they also had, I mean, obviously they don't do the play places anymore because they're full of like germs. They were so pretty to look at. I didn't, Ronald kind of scared me, you know, the clown, but I liked Grimace. And I liked the Hamburglar. And there was like a French fry guy too, I think. And Taco Bell was the greatest thing in the world because of that Chihuahua. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Gorditas forever. Yo quiero Taco Bell. My favorite Taco Bell is the Grande Supreme. But the last time I had that, as the airplane goes over me, or helicopter, is the traffic helicopter. Oh my goodness, it got so dark. I can barely see you guys. Okay. Yeah, but so I don't know what they did. They changed a lot of menus, a lot of recipes and stuff. But anyway, thank you all so much for chilling. I hope everybody stays healthy and happy and comfortable and has good food. Even though things don't taste as good as they used to. And on that note, I am going to get ready. The Noid. The Domino's character was the Noid. But anyway. Cool hanging with you all. Thanks so much for hanging out and liking, subscribing, notifying, and all that other stuff. Tomorrow there'll be a compilation which will be pretty early on my end, so if you can't see a part of it during the time I'm live streaming, it's going to be very early for Europe for sure. Unless I sleep in. I don't know. But it will be available tomorrow. And a new video coming on Sunday. And probably going to skip Monday as I have been lately. But definitely something new for Tuesday. If you have requests, be sure to like put them on any of the videos and or on the community page. Okay. Good night, and love.